You think you hard? You think you hard, motherfucker? You ain't hard. You soft as shit, man. I've been to jail a million times. I'm the hardest motherfucker here. That's right. I'm hard, motherfucker. Don't you mess with me. I'm pop tapping your ass. You can tell. I'm serious. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and as promised, I'm here today to review the film Get Hard. So the movie Get Hard follows the very wealthy yet extremely oblivious businessman by the name of James King, who gets arrested for fraud and embezzlement in his company and is sentenced to 10 years in maximum security prison and has 1 month to prepare until his sentence begins. And so he hires the help of his car washer by the name of Darnell, who he mistakenly believes has gone to prison because, you know, racial profiling, I guess. But because King promises to pay him very handsomely, Darnell decides to take on the endeavor to prepare King for the big house. Even though he's never been to the big house whatsoever or has never even held a freaking gun in his life. Now, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I was actually pretty interested to see this movie. I mean, to see these two powerhouse comedians in a film together, I think that was a perfect idea. I love Kevin Hart and I love Will Ferrell, and I think that they would work so well together. But I started to get more deterred each and every time I would see like a promo or a trailer. I mean, they were promoting the shit out of this movie. Like, go see our movie! Go see our movie! Go see our movie! I had a feeling like they knew that this movie was gonna be bad, so they had to keep on promoting it so that they could keep it in people's minds. But again, also, Kevin Hart is a huge promoter when it comes to his movies. He always promotes his movies. He's a good campaigner. I love that about him. And so I went into this film with my good friend Selena on the fence. I didn't know whether or not I would like it or I would hate it, but I kept an open mind. And after seeing the film, I have to say, I actually enjoyed watching this film. Is it the best comedy of the year? Not at all, but it's a really fun and enjoyable comedy, and that's really all I asked for it to be. In all honesty, you can forgo every other element to this film. It's just padding. The story, it doesn't matter. The characters, they're not the main focus. The direction, who the fuck cares about the direction in Get Hard? All you really want to know about this film is whether or not the comedy was good and did it make you laugh. And if the answer is yes, then the comedy was a success. If it's a no, then it was a huge fail. And luckily, this film, at least to me, did deliver on its comedy and made me genuinely laugh, especially in the second and third act of the film, which had many hilarious moments that made me laugh out loud. One scene in particular that I won't spoil too much, but it's when Darnell is explaining how he ended up going to prison. That scene was so freaking hilarious. In fact, I think that was the one scene in the entire film that made me laugh out loud and continuously. Like, I laughed for like 30 seconds. That's how funny it was to me. You could really tell that Will Ferrell was just having so much fun in his role. He fully embraced the character of James King. You may not like his acting, you may not like his comedy, but you cannot deny the guy's dedication to a role. Now, that's not to say that his dedication can go a little bit overboard. There are moments in the film where I felt like, okay, just tone it down a little bit, Will Ferrell. But overall, I just admire the fact that he really goes all out when he does these roles. Kevin Hart was pretty serviceable in the movie, but that's not to say that he didn't have his time in the sun. He did have a few funny moments here and there. Like I said, Darnell's speech about how he ended up going to prison. And I will say that there's another exchange that happens in the middle of the film that I found really hilarious, but I thought that his acting was really good. Like, he also embraced the role of Darnell. And their comedic chemistry in the film was solid. It didn't feel awkward whatsoever. They made a dynamic comedic team. Although I don't really like Kevin Hart playing a straight man in a comedy. I'd rather he be the wacky sidekick. I feel like he works better in that role than the straight man, because that's what he was in this film, and Will Ferrell was the eccentric one. I feel like both of them work better when they're eccentric instead of like the straight man in the comedy. But again, that's just me, I digress. Now, although I did say you can forego every other element to the film and just focus on the comedy itself cannot carry this film together. You still do need a story, you do need characters, And that's where the problems and issues of the film arise. The story is completely generic with no original bone in its body, and it's just chock full of so many cliches that you've seen in other films prior to this one. And not just only comedies. You know, the guy that's pretending to be something that he's not, the fall guy kind of dilemma, and there's this whole subplot dealing with the reveal of what actually happened that is not surprising whatsoever. I mean, when you see the character who's responsible for what happens, you kind of know that it was him all along. Like, there was no subtlety with that character. And branching off of that, the other characters in the film, besides Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart, were completely forgettable. Like, I totally forgot that James King even had a fiance that was played by Alison Brie, who did pretty well in the role, but just didn't really bring anything unique to the role, and she wasn't even that funny. Her dad, played by Craig T. Nelson, oh my god, talk about terrible performance. This guy has not aged well in his acting career. I mean, he is just lucky he got this role. Darnell's family only pop up when it's convenient, like when the story needs to address why Darnell is doing what he's doing. That's the only purpose their family serves, and in all honesty, completely pointless. You really didn't need to have Darnell have a family. The only other characters that kinda left a mark in the film were the people that worked at Mr. King's house. They had some funny moments here and there, but they were extremely brief. And the last issue with this film, and is an issue that I have with most Will Ferrell films, is that the first act of the film, many of the jokes just didn't land and went on for way too long. Every single Will Ferrell movie I ever seen has at least one or two scenes that just go on for way too long, and it's just not funny anymore. It's just extremely uncomfortable and awkward. Just kill the scene. And that's all I gotta say about the film. At the end of the day, all I truly wanted from the movie Get Hard was to laugh. And it was able to deliver some good and genuine laughs throughout the film. So, with that being said, I'm gonna give this film a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I found it to be an enjoyable film, and if you're a fan of Will Ferrell comedies or Kevin Hart comedies, I say give this one a watch. But anyway, what did you guys think about Get Hard? Did you really enjoy it? Did you get a kick out of it? Or did you find it really boring and derivative and you just didn't find any of the jokes funny? And let me know, what is your all-time favorite Will Ferrell performance? My personal favorite was his performance in Stranger Than Fiction, which I felt like is one of his best performances to date, where he's able to pull off the drama and the comedy at the same time, really showing his range as an actor. So comment below and let me know. And until the next video comes, guys, if you would like to be a part of the Black Critic crew and not miss out on a single awesome video on this channel, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm 21 in a second, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.